Hello and welcome. Well, the term mindfulness is used quite a bit these days, really as a mental health buzzword. But do you know exactly what it means? And, or I guess, how you can apply it to your life to help support your busy lifestyle as a parent? Well, that's why we're here today and to chat about it with our special guest, Sally Kellet. Now, Sally is a professional meditation teacher, a certified sound meditation practitioner, and founder of a wellbeing hub and mindfulness studio called Mirosuna. Thanks for joining us, Sally. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, this is great, and I think very timely with everything that's been happening in the world so far this year. And there's lots to
Yeah.
talk about. And I guess there's really two different worlds in saying that we are talking about, and or bubbles, as I like to refer to them. And, bubble on this side is, parents live in a busy, tiring, some would say exhausting bubble with lots of noise and chaos that comes along with it. And on the other hand, when we hear mindfulness, we think of living in a positive, peaceful, blissful state of mind that really seems to be completely opposite to, I guess, the world that parents live in. But I guess really it is possible to integrate the two. And that's really what we're here to learn about from you today and to find out how it's all possible. So I guess to begin with, for someone who maybe doesn't know exactly what the true definition of what mindfulness is, can you just maybe start off by just explaining that to us?
Yeah, sure. So I guess like so many people have different versions or definitions of mindfulness, and some might even think that it is meditation, which it's really not. And Mirosuna's definition of it is simply the awareness of your mind, your body, and your speech.
Yeah.
So what I'm just trying to say there is, being aware of the quality of the thoughts in your mind, the quality of your speech. Are you saying good things or are you saying negative things? And then finally, your actions. Are you doing good or you're doing harm? So mindfulness is the awareness of all of the three.
Yeah. So mindfulness really means, I guess, what maintaining a moment by moment awareness of our thoughts, and our feelings, and maybe like our bodily sensations, and also or the environment around us. Would you say, with a
Yeah.
nurturing sort of lens? Would you say?
Yeah, so like if we can be aware of what's happening in our mind, our body, and our speech, then naturally we're going to be able to catch when we are acting in a way that isn't in line with our true self or our true intentions. What does that mean? It means that we're going to be aware when things don't feel right, when we don't feel good, or when we're doing something that we actually don't want to be doing or saying. So if we can be aware, and the first step is being aware, we can then know what we want to change. And if we can then create that change in our life, then we can make a better life for ourselves. And that is why mindfulness is a lifestyle. It's a way of life.
Oh, I love that. So when we practice mindfulness, I guess our thoughts tune into what we're sensing in the present moment, is it? So we're not really rehashing the past or
Mhm.
imagining the future. We're not thinking about what we're going to cook for dinner tomorrow night, or where we have to be with running the kids around and all of that other stuff that's going on, in the past or in the future. It's actually being in the present moment. Is that right?
Yeah, we're really trying to engage our mind in what's happening right now. And yes, it's okay to think about your past and it's okay to think about the future, but there's a time and a technique and a way to actually think of those things. For example, you don't want to think about the past if you're holding yourself onto some guilt or something that you didn't approve of yourself, because that's just torture. But
Yeah.
if you're thinking about the past to reflect on your behavior and how you can make that better in the future, then that's a sensible way of looking at the past. And looking at the future, it's healthy for us because we want to be able to have some plans and some direction and some ambition on where we want to go and who we want to be. But then it's not healthy to be so fixated on the future and live our lives today as if tomorrow has happened, because sometimes that might not be the case. So I guess, yes, mindfulness is about being in the moment, but it also doesn't mean that we always strictly have to be in the
The
moment.
moment.
We're,
Yeah.
we're trying to learn about how to live mindfully across the past, present, and the future. And that's maybe something people generally don't talk about.
And why do you think it's so important then?
because it literally can change our whole lives. Like I've watched my own life transform. I've watched people's lives transform, my clients' lives. The thing is, a lot of people think mindfulness is not for them. They think they're already happy, or they think they're too far gone and they can't help themselves. Whatever your situation is, mindfulness will always be able to help you if it's done in the right way and if you're doing it in a supported way with proper techniques. And if you do it right, you'll always end up with a happier life overall. Not to say that it's not hard as you're trying to heal.
Mm. And talking about our day-to-day lives, I guess it seems a very natural evolution that as life and the world around us has become busier over time, and it had to reflect, I guess, our brain's ability to match and keep up with the pace of life as well, which means that, as we we're just saying, we are sometimes in worrying about the past or the future as well. So in its essence, it seems like that mindfulness is really to help put us into a positive state of mind. Would you say it's more of a
Yeah.
positive place?
It is. And ultimately, it's trying to guide us down a positive life. But having said that, the way I always explain it to my community is that sometimes healing does hurt because sometimes we're trying to overcome some of the things that are uncomfortable. It does sometimes make us look deep into ourselves on traits that we are not proud of. And that can take time to resolve. And it's not always easy. But the overall outcome of this way of life is a positive way of life. Yes, it
Mm.
is about the positivity that we have and reducing the negativity that we have.
Yeah, and a lot of people really equate mindfulness with good feelings. So, in talking about feelings, if someone is new to practicing mindfulness, how would you describe how it actually feels?
If you're practicing mindfulness on your own, it can be a bamboozle of information. There is so much out there, so many quotes, so many books, so many different types of meditation techniques. Because, as I said, a lot of people think mindfulness is meditation and then they have to sit there for 10 minutes a day to meditate. And so I would say that it can be quite confusing. It can be very confusing to start practicing mindfulness. So, I would say that when you get over that confusion and when you have someone that's guiding you through it, it then becomes extremely life changing and very rewarding. The experience is profound and it's very enlightening, and you will very quickly start to see some positive changes in your life. And you will suddenly realize how much you have been living in this state of autopilot, where your brain just runs off and thinks the things that it wants to think and says the things that it wants to say without you actually not having that much control. So one of the very quick things you will start to notice is, oh my gosh, I am me. This is what I just said. This is what I just did. And suddenly you just become so aware of everything in your life. And only then can you start then saying, do I like it? Do I not? Do I need to change that? How can I change that?
Mm. For any busy parent, I guess, watching or listening to this, they're going to say, this is all lovely. It's nice and it's fluffy and it's a bit, for some people, it may be a little bit woo woo. But the
Mm-hmm.
parents may be thinking to themselves, like, this is crazy. I've got a busy life. I've got kids running around. I've got my partner. I've got my work, my life is full, my plate is absolutely full, and I can't possibly think about finding the time, for all
Mm-hmm.
of this nice
Yeah.
peacefulness. So what would you say to a busy parent, maybe thinking at this point of the chat so far?
I would say don't think of it as you have to change your life on what's happening on the outside.
Yeah.
Don't think for a second that you have to stop doing things that are important to running your household and to running your career. Obviously, paying the bills is important. Raising your children is, showering and going to the toilet. All of these things are very natural that we can't cut out of our lives. So um, don't think about it as you having to carve time out of your day. Think about ways to actually make your day meaningful. So when you're washing the dishes, wash the dishes. Don't think about what you're going to cook for dinner. Don't start picking up a phone call. Just really let your brain focus on washing the dishes or doing the laundry or driving in a car, listening to music. Because what you're essentially doing in that moment is you're still being productive. Like, even if you're in a customer meeting and you're focusing on what the customer is saying, you're still being productive. All you're doing now, though, is you're letting other external thoughts start to quiet down. And by quieting down the hundreds of thoughts you have and simplifying that down to a few, you are practicing mindfulness. You are relaxing your mind. You're actually relaxing your brain waves so that you can get into an alpha state of brain waves to be able to be aware but consciously make decisions in a more relaxed way. And that is proven to minimize stress, depression, and anxiety.
Cool. So I guess the question is really, what's the point of mindfulness, and how can parents really benefit from it?
Hmm. We have so many reasons for practicing mindfulness, but one of the top reasons why parents like to practice mindfulness is because it improves their relationship with their children and with their partners. And it also makes the whole family experience more rich, because instead of thinking about, oh, these are all the chores I haven't done, and oh my gosh, the kids are late to school, the kids won't eat their breakfast, and I am late for my day job, and all of those things, it actually helps you put things into perspective and helps you be able to handle yourself and your day with grace. So that is the biggest thing, is it helps you get through all the stuff you still have to do, but you mentally feel so at peace with it all.
Yeah. So why, I guess, in some instance, is mindfulness maybe, say, difficult for some people? And for someone that's maybe new to it, what are some of the main challenges that they may sort of encounter and then have to overcome?
Mm. One of the top reasons why I think it's really difficult to start mindfulness is because people have the wrong idea of mindfulness. They think it's meditation, or they think it takes time. And yeah, okay, it takes a little bit of time initially to learn about what it is. And you can do that in quick ways. Like I teach it through my course. But the thing is, when people realize that mindfulness is a change of your mindset and it's just a way of life,
I love
you'll
that
then,
change of your mindset. Yes.
yeah. Yeah, like it's changing your mindset. You still can do everything you want to do, but when you realize that, when you that moment or that penny drops, you're like, crap, I can practice mindfulness. You know. But until then, we're all too busy for it. Yeah.
So I guess we've established that there's a whole heap of benefits with mindfulness. And speaking about the physicality of it, I guess mindfulness can help to regulate our emotions. It sounds like it can definitely help to decrease stress and anxiety and depression, and also can help us, I guess, sort of focus our attention as well as observing our thoughts, it sounds like, and feelings without judgment. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It can do so many more things, because when you control all of those things that are happening in your mind and your body, you can then have other benefits, such as even sleeping better. You know, like we really need sleep. Even one night of bad sleep can result into a lot of emotional and physical um, disadvantages in our body. And so, you know, mindfulness isn't overall, yeah, there's short term benefits, but there's actually long term benefits to it as well. So, yeah.
And how would you describe what the long-term benefits are then?
I think overall, you're going to find a few things. Like there's a lot of things, but these are some key ones. Is number one, the relationships in your life significantly change. And they change. And I don't want to say they always get better, because some relationships end up, I guess, fading away too. As you go on your journey, you'll start to realize that there are some people or some connections in your life that no longer serve you. So practicing mindfulness can help you cleanse things in your life that, you know, you don't need, things that aren't actually good for you or that don't do anything for you. And that does actually include people in our lives as well. So, you know, as we get older, we know that it is quality, not quantity.
Yes.
And that is something, that is something we can mindfully do and control, because there are still some people who feel like they're not able to control that it's just happening.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
so it really is that there's it's only a positive benefit either way, because if you are cleansing sort of the toxic people out of your life because you're maybe more aware of your feelings and maybe the things that eventuate from having them in your life, it's only going to be a good thing to be able to maybe move them out of your life anyway, I guess. So
Yeah,
um,
yeah, because we don't have time, right? Like this whole society has no time for anything. And if we keep putting junk into our lives, and I'm not saying, you know, just people, but I'm saying like everything, like distractions, like doing things that actually aren't meaningful. They don't really get us anywhere closer to our higher purpose, or help us achieve more happiness or more relaxation. If we keep putting empty things into our lives, then of course we have no time, you know.
yeah. So if,
Really.
would you say that there's a goal to mindfulness at all? And if so, what is it? maybe?
Yeah. So I definitely have a goal, and I'm very Eastern philosophy centric in my teachings. And my ultimate goal is a state where I have pure wisdom and pure positivity, where I've got pure generosity, pure patience, and just pure virtue. And what that means is every day, in every moment, everything we do is either positive or negative.
Yep.
So, if you go rescue an animal, that's a positive act. If you you go hit someone, that's a negative act. And the things that we say, I can say something positive, like uniting speech, where I bring people together, or I could engage into idle gossip, which really is not helpful because it divides people. So everything that we do and say and think is always classified as a positive or a negative. So
Yep.
the ultimate goal of mindfulness is to try and be positive all the time. Now, you'd have to be a Buddha to be positive all the time, right? But and we're humans and we have flaws, and that's totally fine. But that doesn't stop us from making that our end goal,
Mm-hmm.
because the more happy we are, the more positive we are, the more happy we are. And I might leave with like a little formula here for happiness, is that the formula for happiness is an increase in the persistence of positive emotions over negative emotions. So the more we can increase our positivity, coupled by decreasing our negativity, that actually equals happiness. And that's not just my formula, and that's not just the Eastern philosophy formula. That's also the scientific formula to happiness.
Mm-hmm.
So we can approach life very systematically and very with a bit of structure and process. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think to add another layer to that, things are either negative or positive, that really anchors down to everything really is either comes from a place of love or it comes from a place of
Mm-hmm.
fear. And
Mm-hmm.
then, so it's just choosing, I guess, to live life and to come from a place of love, as opposed to sort of acting, and speaking and living our lives from a place of fear, I think, overall. But, I guess if a parent really starts practicing mindfulness in their day-to-day lives, then what types of changes do you
Mm-hmm.
think they would be likely to see in their lives?
The first and biggest change that my clients, like my mummies and dads, experience is decreased of anger and frustration.
Oh, that's a
That's
bit
going to
nice.
be, yeah, I know, don't we all need some of that? That has to be the biggest and quickest revelation and positive change in someone's life, is because through the techniques that I give, you can actually reframe and reset your mindset so that you actually receive the external stimulus happens. So something or someone does something or says something and it makes you
Which is
angry
always
and
going to
frustrated.
happen. It's part of life. It's just part of, you can't stop it.
You can't stop it, right? So you may as well embrace it. But I teach you how to embrace it, and I teach you how to reframe that thinking so that your brain can default into better behavior. Because right now, our brain defaults to anger and frustration. We
Mm-hmm.
want to stop that. We want to change the habit, and we want to default it to thinking from a place of love and kindness and patience. So that's definitely the first positive change that parents will experience through practicing mindfulness, is that they will have a significant decrease of anger and frustration. And then the second one following from that is naturally a better relationship with their children, husbands and wives, because you're less angry. You're more loving. There's more room for love. There's more room for generosity to give back, and then to truly live in the moment and enjoy that family time together, because you only live once. Your kids are only young once, and hey, a blink of an eye and they're teenagers, and then adults moving out of home. We don't want to miss that.
Yeah. And would you say that mindfulness actually improves mental health as well?
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Like, it's not even just me, but like the studies show it. There's, across Eastern philosophy, science, personal experiences, my clients' experiences, 200% it improves your mental health and your mental well-being
Yeah.
and your physical too.
Yeah, and I guess like sort of following life in lockdown, parents may have experienced just that really lovely feeling of just like life sort of slowing down and living life at a slower pace. And I guess we don't really have to wait for a reason in our lives to find, happiness or arrive at a place where we have more sort of peace of mind maybe as well. It's more about sort of finding it in the everyday. And as
Yeah.
cliche, I guess, as the saying is, happiness, as that saying is, happiness isn't a journey.
Mm.
Sorry, happiness is not a destination, it's a journey. Sorry. And that tells me that I guess we have to find happiness in the everyday moments. So there are moments of bliss in our everyday lives. It's just a matter of being in the moment and being mindful to find those moments. Do you think?
Yes, 100%. There are so many good things that happen to us, each and every one of us. And my Buddhist teacher always said to me, like when people complain about how hard their lives are, or when we sit down and complain, we've got to remember that there's always someone less fortunate than us, and there's always someone more fortunate than us, however you define that. But what you can't change is you are you. And this is the world that you live in, and this is your life, and you only have one life. And you want to make sure as hell that you make it the best one that you can. So, one thing that we don't know is, when are we going to pass away? When is it going to be our time? And if that day is tomorrow, I always say to myself, I want to make sure that my life was meaningful and worth living by that day when it happens. And
Yeah.
I will do everything in my day to help myself and to help other people on this journey as I am on mine.
Mm-hmm. And I guess everyone really does owe it to themselves just to be able to put themselves in a better place
Mm.
each and every day. So this can definitely help. Now, look, we published your article titled Mindfulness for Busy Mums. Now, it's not just for mums, for dads as well, and carers. But so can you tell us a little bit, if like for someone who hasn't read the article yet, could you give us a little bit of an overview what it's about and just tell us what inspired you to write it?
Yeah, I inspired it because for parents, I work with a lot of parents, and I think they need mindfulness more than ever in their lives, because they've got such great responsibility. Not only do they have to be responsible of their own lives, but they have to make sure they are paying the bills for the family to be able to raise their children. Their children need their time, need their teachings, and it's very difficult when you're trying to, I guess, become a better person while trying to make other people and caring for other people and making them a better person too. So I was inspired to write it because of all my clients who came to me and they told me that it changed, like studying with me changed their lives. And that made me think, gosh, I wish I could help more people on this journey that was in the same boat, because it's so powerful. And the article really is about educating people that mindfulness is not some mystical thing. It's not some woo-woo thing where it's about meditating and sitting with puffy cushions and candles. It's something that we can do here and now. Even whoever's listening to this video or the podcast, just being so mindful of the words that are coming across and the intention, and how you can truly be open to receiving these words and these lessons, as opposed to saying, oh, I'm too busy, I need to move on.
Yeah.
Because the thing, if you're always too busy and always moving on, then you're not really living your life in the moment then. And tomorrow you're going to wake up and think, oh my gosh, what even happened yesterday? And then over time, it's like, what just happened in the last year or two?
Yeah. So like, why do you think that mums more than anyone, I guess, need to practice mindfulness? And why do you think they struggle really to do so?
I think mums need it more than ever, because our nurturing natural instinct of being a woman is to give, give, give. And it's to protect, it's to provide, and it's to nurture. And therefore, mums probably spend like more than 24 hours a day, if that was even possible, thinking and doing things for other people, such as their children and their husbands and partners and so forth. And so when you do that, it's great for others, because everyone else is getting things done for them, right? It's
Yeah.
amazing. Mother's love is is deeper than the ocean. But the problem is, you very quickly will feel drained if you don't give anything back to yourself. And there's a saying that you can't love others unless if you love yourself. And growing up, I never really understood what that was until I witnessed my mum doing the same thing. And she would just give every part of herself to my dad and my sisters and I. She actually had nothing left for herself. And it got to a point where she became quite negative and she needed us to help her. And so what I'm trying to say there is, when you have fully exhausted yourself and given every part of you where you've got nothing left to give, it becomes more that other people now have to start looking after you, and you can't give any more, which is productive because you actually want to keep giving as a mother. As a
Yes.
parent, you want to keep giving.
All right,
But the
cool.
reality is you just can't keep giving if you don't actually practice self-love and self-care. And that's why I really want to help parents.
All right, cool. So we've now established what mindfulness is, why it's so important, and I guess some of the benefits of it as well. So we're at that point now that, okay, so we've made a decision. We want to be able to bring more mindfulness into our day-to-day lives. What are some things that mums can do, parents and carers as well, can do to implement, I guess, to start sort of bringing that into their life and making some positive like habits. Now in your article, I think you list 7 different ways that people can start doing that. Could you maybe share some of those with us now?
Yeah. So some of the really low hanging fruit, easy wins, because we all need easy wins in
Oh,
life because
low
we're all
hanging fruit. Love that.
low hanging fruit is, you know, when you, as I mentioned before, when you're doing the dishes, because we all have to wash the dishes like every day of our lives, or when you're doing the clothes, or when you're hanging your clothes, I challenge you to spend 2 minutes doing that, at least 2 minutes, where you're just feeling totally present with you, the sponge, the dish. That's it. And I know this could sound so ridiculous, but honestly, this stuff works. And if you just spend those 2 minutes just focusing on how clean you're getting these dishes or how dry you're trying to get them or trying to put them back neatly where they belong, it's not so much that, you know, you're making this, it's not so much about the dishes. It's actually about what's happening in your mind that you're changing. So I strongly encourage you to try that. Another technique that I really like is when you shower today, just take note of how quick are you moving? That's all. How quick are you scrubbing your face? How quick are you brushing your teeth? Are you speeding through it or are you taking your time? Because most people I know probably are speeding through it. You're probably not washing your face for 30 seconds, which is, you know, the recommended time that you wash your face. Some people don't brush their teeth for the full 2 minutes, you know, and why? Because they don't have time, because their brain is in this default rush. So my second technique that I cover in the article is just take your time when you shower, you know, really enjoy your shower. If you have one of those crazy showers that are like high pressure, like my one at home, it actually causes you some subconscious stress because it's just pouring down at you. So try and, you know, reduce the pressure of the shower. Try to slow down your movements and focus on just one thing that happened during your day. Just one thing. It might even be a bad thing. It might even be something that, oh, you're like not so comfortable with how you reacted, or you feel bad that you yelled at your child and, you know, lost your shit during this particular moment. It could be that, or it could be something that happened that you really, really enjoyed today. You know, that 2 minutes that you did actually go to take a walk at the park, or when you walked your dog, or when you played with your child and then they said their first word. Something like that, you know, think of that one moment as you dial down the pressure in your tap if it's really strong, as you're slowing down your washing your face or you're brushing the teeth sort of moments, and just see how you feel. Because we're not asking for a lot. We're not saying, hey, don't shower or don't wash the dishes. We're saying, hey, keep being productive, but change your mindset, change
Okay.
what's in your mind.
So I get it. So we don't need to then block out a certain period of time of every day to say, this is my time to be mindful. It's
Yeah.
actually in what we do in our day-to-day lives is actually being mindful as we're doing those things. Is that the
Yeah,
best way to describe it, would you say?
200%. Yeah.
All right, cool. So it can be practiced even, I guess, when the kids are running around and parents are struggling to find time for themselves, they can still be mindful in that moment, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I want to say here that I've written an article on this as well. It's about how you define me time. A lot of people define me time quiet in a bizarre way, in the sense that it's only when they get to sit down and watch a movie on their own, or when they get to sit down and read a book, or when they can go shopping on their own. But that's actually not only what me time has to be. Me time is just you, is time when you get to spend in your own head and in your own body, just being aware of all that stuff happening. And when you're washing the dishes, I know a lot of people don't consider that me time because they consider it a chore. But the challenge that I'm giving you guys is to turn those chores into me time
Mm-hmm.
by focusing on yourself.
So what about practicing mindfulness when I guess you're waiting to pick the kids up, for, say, from
Mm.
kinder or for school, or from, waiting from at their dancing class or
Mhm.
basketball or football practice or something like that. So you have those moments, for example, where you have a bit of downtime. What about that?
Yeah, in those moments, they're perfect, right? Because this is the perfect moment to practice mindfulness because your default is going to be, let me check the phone, let me reply to my emails, let me call whoever I have to call, oh, and let me write my shopping list. All right, so we're going to just try and stop that for just 2 minutes. Even just 2 minutes, we're going to try and stop. We're going to watch our children. We're going to watch how much they've developed in whether it's that swim school or the gymnastics class or whatever it is. We're just going to observe what's happening around us. We're going to observe other children, and just the fact that it's good or bad weather. You know, the fact that we're here breathing, it's quite a miracle that we're all still here. You
Yeah.
know, just more observant of what's around you. Yeah.
And what about like setting prompts on your mobile phone, say at the same time each day as a
Mm.
reminder to be mindful? Do you think that we should be doing that, or should we just really make an attempt? As you were saying earlier on in the chat, we don't have to be mindful 24/7, but it's just
Mm.
choosing the points of time in each day to be mindful. So do you think it's better to block out a certain time in the day with a prompt on your phone? Say, for example, if you go to work and you've got your lunch break, setting some time
Mm.
then, or what are your thoughts? Or is it more the practice of just trying to find it in our day-to-day lives?
I think the thing is, if you set a daily reminder, what's going to happen is it's going to be great for the first few days. And then very quickly, you're going to be like, the alarm rings and you're going to be like, dismiss, dismiss. And you're going to get faster and faster at pressing that dismiss button. Because it's just something that happens every day, right? You're like, oh, 5 o'clock, yeah, dismiss. But so I don't encourage that. However, I do encourage things like choosing a particular activity that you know you have to do every day, such as whether it's your 15-minute stretch because you've got shoulder pain, or it's washing the dishes, or your shower. Pick that one activity. Like for me, it's gardening and stretching. So I pick that activity and I wake up in the morning and I head straight to my garden straight after I've brushed my teeth and washed my face, because I know that I am going to get out there and I'm going to look at my plants and I'm going to be totally in the moment. My phone is in the house, and that's my 15 minutes to set the scene for the day. And then come 5 o'clock, I try and do my stretching workouts, because you've been sitting in front of a computer all day, you're all locked up in your neck and all that tension's just built, right? So I'm like, okay, I will go work out at 5 o'clock. And in that 15, 20 minutes of stretching, no one called me. I don't even care if my phone's ringing. It's not even near me, you know? And so I actually don't tie my mindfulness to an alarm. I tie it to an activity sometimes, in addition to me practicing mindfulness all the time. But
Yes.
that's what I'd recommend. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that, tying it to an activity. I'm a really big fan of Oprah, and she said, in one of her chats some time ago, and it really stuck with me, that same thing. Everyone's busy. Where do you find time? And it's a daily repetition of when she's making her cup of tea and she's just stirring her cup of tea, that she knows that that's her time just to be mindful each day. So tie it to a daily activity. If it's making your morning cup of coffee or what have you, to be able to have that moment as well. And I guess for mums out there that take the time to do classes like yoga and Pilates and meditation, and you mentioned at the start of the chat about potentially the similarity between meditation and mindfulness, but what is the difference, I guess, between meditation and mindfulness, or is there any difference at all?
Yeah, well, to me, they're completely different things, because mindfulness is a way of life. You know, it's being aware of what you're doing, thinking, and saying, as opposed to meditation. It's a tool of practicing mindfulness. It's just one tool. Like meditation, yoga, journaling, going for a walk, these are all tools. It's not the be all and end all. And I really want to stress that, because a lot of people try meditation thinking it is mindfulness, and then it's really hard. I've been meditating for over 15 years, and yes, it's really hard. So then people get discouraged. And then all of a sudden they're like, mindfulness ain't for me. You know, and it's so sad to see people like that. And I have so many people I have to convince to come back to mindfulness because they started off on the back foot. So yeah, they're completely different things. Meditation is just one out of the many tools for mindfulness.
So mindfulness is really the awareness of something, while meditation is the awareness of nothing. So when people sit there and meditate, they're trying to clear their mind of everything. And mindfulness is actually the awareness of something, as we're saying, making a cup of tea and actually being mindful of how the I don't know, the spoon is going through the tea or the coffee or what have you. So there is a difference, because mindfulness is the awareness of something, while meditation is the awareness of nothing. Of course, there's different forms of meditation, but generally, would you say that that's the difference between the two?
There's heaps of different forms of meditations, yes, but essentially meditation is the act of focusing on one thing. And if you can start to still all the noise and just really trying to focus on that one thing, then essentially that's meditation. When we do things like washing the dishes and really focusing on washing the dishes, that's actually a light form of meditation. It's actually meditation in disguise, because it's an active meditation. It's when you're actually up and doing things, but you're calming your mind. So in that way, they're sort of similar, but I would go back to the fact that mindfulness is a way of living. It's your choice of what you say and how you do things. It's your philosophy. It's your pursuit of happiness, as opposed to meditation is really trying to focus on that one thing, like your breath or a mantra, or focusing on a guided meditation or a sequence or a visualization. I mean, there's so many things, or a sound to help you calm down the thoughts in your mind. Yeah, so I guess meditation is like going to the gym and lifting weights, but then mindfulness is how you use your muscles during the day.
Oh, I like that. I really like that. Say that again.
So, so meditation's like going to the gym and like lifting the weights. It's that short, stint of full on practice. And after you've gained the muscle, it's like mindfulness is during the day, when you go out and actually just use your muscle in your day to day.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. And I guess there's a lot of thought leaders in this space, Eckhart Tolle being one, and they speak about the fact that the present moment is the only thing that we really have. And one of my favorite quotes of his is that, this is quoting him, of course: realize deeply that the present moment is all we ever have. Make the now of our lives the primary focus of your life. But sitting in the present moment may be quite uncomfortable for a lot of people. And so the question really is mindfulness for everyone?
I would say that everyone has the ability to practice mindfulness and to gain the benefits from mindfulness. And yes, I do think that mindfulness is something that everyone is actually already practicing, whether they know it or not, because to some degree, we are all aware of our mind, body, and speech. Our awareness, of course, differs along the spectrum. Some are more mindful than others. But I would also say that when you practice mindfulness, if you have things like depression and anxiety, just be really careful, because it can be quite confronting to sit with your own thoughts and to sit in silence at times. I'm not saying you always have to sit in silence, but if you're in a meditation because someone's told you to just sit there and breathe, that can be quite scary. And if something traumatic has happened to you, sitting in silence, reminding you of that,
Yes.
and not having the tools and mental techniques to be able to resolve and process that, is an extremely traumatic experience in itself. So I would say, tread carefully if that is you, and always make sure you are getting the help that you need, whether it's through a teacher, a mentor, or even professional help.
Yes. Yeah, I've definitely read that a lot of experts say that for people suffering with depression or anxiety may need to tread carefully because of focusing too much on the present moment without, I guess, appropriate guidance can actually make their symptoms worse. So I guess as a disclaimer for anyone that is maybe suffering with depression, anxiety, that this is something that definitely that maybe speak to a professional about before sort of maybe delving in and practicing it each day, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. 200% correct.
Yeah. Well, a little bit now about we're talking about your business at the start. You're starting to run a 4-week online mindfulness fundamentals course. So realistically, how can it help parents? And whereabouts can they find you then?
So they can find me on mirosuna.com, whether it's on my webpage or Instagram or Facebook. So Mirosuna is just Mirosuna. They'll see the name when you publish this. My 4-week mindfulness fundamentals course is really to teach people the fundamentals for mindfulness and meditation. It's really to help people understand mindfulness holistically, because I feel, and this is something I've seen time and time again, and even with my own journey, is if you suddenly want to start your mindfulness practice, but you don't really know where to go, and to be honest, there's actually not many places to go. I don't know of any that do this. It can be a very ineffective journey, in the sense that you could be aiming at things that aren't really tailored or personalized to your own experience. And it makes it impossible for you to craft a practice that is going to work. And very quickly, you're going to become very discouraged, because you're going to say, oh, mindfulness doesn't work for me. But the reason why I created this course is because I wanted to give people the fundamentals to their learning, so that they could build their own foundations for their platform, for their mindfulness practice, and ultimately walk away knowing what they have to do next, and something that is sustainable into the very long future of their lives, you know. And that's really why I put it together. Yeah, so I'm up to my third intake now, and that starts in July.
Cool. We'll definitely have a link through to that for you. We've covered a lot in this chat today. If you were to summarize your key messages for anyone watching or listening, what would they be?
I would say don't wait to gain more happiness. The pursuit of happiness is fundamental to being a human, and we forget that. Unfortunately, we forget that because we're so busy. So I would say don't give up on your pursuit of happiness. Number two, practice mindfulness today in all of your moments that you possibly can. There's nothing woo-woo or weird about it. I know sometimes it can be painted out like that, but Mirosuna is really there to show people that there's nothing weird about it. It's just a humanistic fundamental right and a skill that we all should have and practice. And number three, if you're serious about changing your life, really try and learn from someone who can teach you it in a structured way. You will get the most out of your practice, and you won't have to wait 10 years before you can get results.
This is great. Thank you so much for all of the information that you've shared. Thank you for the chat. We'll definitely have a link through to the article and all of your sort of social links for people to find you. And really hope for the opportunity to have a chat with you again in the future. Thank you, Sally. Take care.
No worries. Thanks so much. Take care. Thanks,
Okay,
everyone.
bye.
Bye.